Let me ask you something. Have you ever been broken by words? I'm not talking about fists. I'm not talking about weapons. I'm talking about words that crushed your spirit, tore your confidence apart, and made you question if you were ever enough. Yeah, those words. We've all heard them. Maybe from a parent who didn't believe in you, a teacher who didn't see your potential, a so-called friend who spoke poison behind your back. But listen to me. If words have the power to break you, then words have the power to heal you too. We often underestimate the impact of words because we can't see the bruises they leave. But make no mistake, words carry weight. They cut, they scar, they break. A single sentence can sit in someone's soul for years, replaying over and over like a broken record, reminding them of what they were told they couldn't do, shouldn't be, or would never become. Maybe someone told you that you were a failure, that you didn't have what it takes, that you'd always be average. And over time, even if you didn't want to believe it, it started to feel true. That's the power of negative words. They don't need to be repeated 1,000 times to do damage. Just once, if it hits deep enough, can shift your identity. But here's what most people forget. That same power works the other way too. If a negative word can destroy you, then a positive word can build you. It can lift you out of your pain, pull you from the pit of doubt, and breathe life into what felt dead. The same tongue that tears down can also raise up. The same voice that cursed can also bless. But you got to make a conscious decision about which one you're going to let live in your life. Are you going to keep giving space to those damaging voices from your past? Or are you going to replace them with new words? Stronger words, healing words. You've been listening to the wrong soundtrack. It's time to change the playlist. Start speaking to yourself the way you wish someone would have spoken to you when you were hurting. Speak with compassion. Speak with compassion. Speak with strength. Tell yourself that you are capable, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Tell yourself that you are valuable, even when others made you feel disposable. And don't just say it once. Repeat it until your mind starts to believe it. Because repetition is how those damaging words took root in the first place. Now you're going to uproot them with truth and plant something real, something that grows life. Words shape reality. They influence how you see yourself, how you show up in the world, and how you recover from pain. It's not just about external voices either. The internal dialogue matters just as much, if not more. What you say to yourself when no one else is around determines how far you'll go. It determines what you'll fight for, what you'll walk away from, and whether you'll stay stuck or rise again. There comes a point in life where you can't wait on anybody else to lift you up. You got to do it yourself. Too many people are stuck because they're waiting for the apology that never came, the encouragement they never received, or the approval that never showed up. But what if I told you that healing doesn't start when someone speaks life over you? It starts when you do. You have to become your own voice, your own motivator, your own source of strength. The truth is, no one knows your pain like you do. No one knows the battles you fought just to get out of bed, to keep going when everything inside you said quit. That means no one is more qualified than you to speak the words you need to hear. Too many people go their entire lives waiting for permission to heal. Waiting for someone to say, it's okay to move on, or you matter, or you got what it takes. But that permission has to come from within. It has to come from you. You don't need to wait for someone to see your value. You need to start declaring it for yourself. Stand in front of that mirror and speak to the version of you that's been broken, the version that's been overlooked. Speak to that part of you with kindness, with courage, and with power. When you speak life into yourself, you change your energy. You shift your focus. You start to believe in the possibility of healing, even if it still feels far away. You gotta talk to yourself like someone who's going to win, like someone who's already overcome things that others didn't survive. Because you have, and the fact that you're still here means you've got a voice that needs to be heard, starting with your own ears. You gotta remind yourself of what you're made of. You got to remind yourself that storms don't last forever, and that pain is not your identity. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about powerful speaking. Your words to yourself become your belief system. What you speak consistently, you eventually start to live. So speak faith when you feel fear. Speak hope when you feel hopeless. Speak strength when you feel tired. Speak Speak healing even when you still feel hurt. Your voice matters. It's not about volume. It's about truth. When you start talking to yourself like you matter, everything around you starts to shift. Your mindset changes. Your behavior changes. Your healing begins from the inside out. Every word you speak is a seed, whether you realize it or not. It doesn't matter if it's something small or something loud. Everything that leaves your mouth is planting something in your own mind or in someone else's. And just like real seeds, words don't show their impact overnight. You won't always see the effect right away, but over time, those words take root and they grow into thoughts, habits, beliefs, and eventually into the kind of life you live. If you're constantly speaking negativity, doubt, or fear, you're building a garden of self-destruction. You're watering weeds that choke out your confidence. But if you choose to speak power, truth, and healing, then you're building a garden that will sustain you in your hardest seasons. You have to be intentional about what you plant. You can't just let words fly carelessly and think they won't come back. They do. Every I can't, every I'm not good enough, every I'll never make it. Those aren't just statements. They're seeds that feed your insecurities. But the same way you can plant fear, you can plant courage. You can speak faith over your future. You can say, I'm not there yet, but I'm growing. You can say, I've been hurt, but I'm healing. That's planting purpose. That's watering growth. That's choosing a crop that serves your destiny, not your doubt. Sometimes people say, it's just words. No, it's not just words. Words frame your reality. Words shape how you show up to life. If someone tells a child they're worthless over and over, that child begins to believe it. But if someone tells them they're strong, loved, and full of potential, sparks something inside of them. And the same thing applies to you. You've got to speak to yourself like you're worth it, because you are. You've got to speak to your future like it's coming, because it is. You've got to speak healing even when you still feel pain, because the words you choose are either going to lock you in a prison or lead you to your freedom. And this isn't just about speaking into the light. Sometimes you got to speak when it's dark. You got to plant even when it feels like nothing's growing. Because real growth happens underground, out of sight, beyond applause, beyond recognition. But just because you can't see the results right away doesn't mean the seeds aren't working. They are. Your job is to keep speaking what you want to see, even when your circumstances tell you otherwise. Keep planting words that align with your purpose. Keep speaking healing over your life day by day. The harvest will come. There comes a time in everyone's life when they have to decide whether to keep carrying the weight of old words or start writing a new story. You don't get to choose everything that's been said to you, but you do get to choose what you believe and what you keep. Some of the most damaging parts of your identity aren't even yours. They were given to you by someone else's words. Maybe it was a parent who told you you never amount to anything. Maybe it was a coach who said you weren't good enough. Maybe it was a friend who made you feel invisible. But just because they said it doesn't mean it's true. Their words may have shaped your past, but they don't have to control your future. It's time to rewrite the narrative. You are not a product of someone else's limited vision. You don't have to keep living by the script they handed you. You have the pen now, and what you write with it matters. Too many people spend their entire lives living under labels they never asked for. They keep replaying stories of pain, rejection, and failure until those stories become their identity. But your story isn't finished. And the good news is the next chapter is still blank. You have every right to erase what was spoken over you and replace it with what you know to be true deep inside. You don't need anyone's permission to shift the direction of your life. You don't need their apology. You don't even need them to admit they were wrong. You just need to decide that their words no longer get to take up space in your mind. From this moment on, you get to choose what defines you. You get to build a new internal language. One that speaks healing, strength, purpose, and power. One that speaks possibility instead of limitation. But rewriting the narrative isn't just about changing what you say. It's about changing what you believe. It's about taking back authority over your identity. When you wake up in the morning, you've got to decide what kind of story you're going to live out. Are you going to let the old wounds win? Or are you going to rise with new words that reflect the strength inside you? You get to call yourself what others never did. You get to name yourself whole, even if you've been broken. You get to speak into your own future with clarity and conviction, not fear and regret. You have the ability to replace every lie with truth, to take every sentence that tried to bury you and turn it into a stepping stone for your growth. There's something powerful that happens when you choose to speak healing over yourself. It doesn't just stay with you. It radiates. It echoes. Your healing becomes someone else's hope. Your words start to carry weight not just for your own transformation, but for those around you who are silently suffering. You never know who's watching, who's listening, who's desperately needing proof that healing is possible. When you find your voice, you're not just finding it for yourself. You're showing others how to find theirs. You become a mirror for someone else's reflection, a reminder they too can rise, they too can overcome, they too can heal. Some people are walking through life numb, not because they want to be, but because they haven't heard anything different in years. Oh. No one told them they mattered. No one told them they had worth. No one told them they could bounce back from the darkest chapter of their life. But when you speak from a place of truth, when your healing is real and your words come from experience, they can feel it. Your authenticity becomes a lifeline. You're not preaching to them. You're reaching them. Not with perfection, but with presence. You don't need to have all the answers to make a difference. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to say, I've been there too, and then speak life. Speak encouragement. Speak resilience. You may not even realize it, but the words that pulled you through your lowest moments could be the very words someone else needs to hear right now. That's why healing is never just about you. It's about what your healing can create in the world. It's about the chain reaction your words can start. Think about the people who helped you along your journey. Chances are it wasn't because they were perfect or had it all figured out. It was probably because they were real. They were raw. They spoke truth when you needed it most. Now it's your turn. You've been through pain and you're still standing. That's a testimony in itself. That's power. Don't hide it. Use it. Let your words be the kind that break chain. The kind that silence shame. The kind that light a spark in someone who's running out of hope. You may never know the full impact of your voice, but that doesn't mean it's not powerful. It just means the world is listening in ways you can't always see. When you speak healing, you lead the way for others to believe healing is possible for them too. There's a lie that too many people have believed for too long. The lie that their pain disqualifies them, that their brokenness makes them unworthy of healing. But the truth is, being wounded doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. It means you've lived, you felt, and you survived. And if you survive, then you are worthy of healing. You don't have to earn it. You wouldn't have to beg for it. You don't have to prove yourself to deserve restoration. Maps is high. You are worthy simply because you are here, still breathing, still trying, still showing up in a world that hasn't always been kind. Worthiness doesn't mean you have it all together. It doesn't mean the pain didn't affect you or that the past didn't leave scars. It means you recognize your value even in the middle of the mess. Too many people look at their broken places and assume that's all they'll ever be: damaged, incomplete, not enough. But those cracks, those wounds, those scars, they're not the end of your story. They're part of your journey. And they do not cancel your worth. In fact, they magnify it. Because anyone who has walked through fire and is still standing carries a strength that cannot be manufactured. You have the right to speak over your life with power. You have the right to look in the mirror and declare that you are more than what hurt you. You have the authority to speak words that align with your healing, not your history. When you begin to see yourself as worthy, you begin to treat yourself with more care, more kindness, more respect. You stop tolerating things that diminish your light. You stop repeating the lies that were handed to you. You begin to protect your peace and guard your inner space because you know that your healing is sacred. There's something life-changing about believing you deserve a better chapter. That mindset unlocks possibilities that were once hidden behind shame. You're no longer just surviving, you're reclaiming. You're taking back your narrative, not with bitterness, but with boldness. You understand that being worthy of healing doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen. It means believing you're not meant to stay in that pain forever. And when you speak to yourself from a place of worth, it becomes harder for others to define you by your wounds. You become rooted in truth, grounded in purpose, and fueled by a new kind of fire. The fire of self-respect, of healing, and of knowing your value. That's where transformation begins. And it starts the moment you stop waiting for validation and start living like someone who was never meant to be broken beyond repair. So now, after everything that's been said, listen to me closely. You have a choice to make. You can keep living under the weight of the words that try to break you, or you can rise and start speaking the words that will build you. No more waiting, no more silence, no more rehearsing pain like it's your only story. This is your moment. Open your mouth, speak life, speak power, speak truth, speak truth. Man's fit that. Speak healing. Not because someone else gave you permission, but because you finally gave it to yourself. Your words can heal. Your voice can change everything. So speak like your life depends on it, because it does.